Welcome to VSOW. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into The Outsiders, and we're going to be exploring the differences between the book and the 1983 film adaptation.
Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of unpack this iconic story and how it translates across mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. Our sources highlight several key differences, starting right off with the opening scene. The book begins with Ponyboy all alone, and he ends up, getting jumped by the Sox. Well, the movie starts with him already with Dally and Johnny. Why do you think this change was made, and what impact does it have on how we perceive Ponyboy?
Well, I think that's a really great observation. The book really seems to emphasize Ponyboy's vulnerability right from the get-go by showing him isolated and targeted. However, starting the film with him alongside Dally and Johnny, it instantly establishes their bond and his sense of belonging within the group, right? It kind of subtly shifts the focus, I think, from individual vulnerability to the strength of their camaraderie.
Interesting. And speaking of focus, the film seems to give Dally much more prominence compared to the book. In the novel, all the greasers have their moments, but the film really highlights Matt Dillon's Dally. How does this shift affect the dynamics of the group?
I think that's right. The film's choice to amplify Dally's character adds a layer of intensity and unpredictable energy to the group dynamic. He becomes this almost mythical figure, a hardened protector, which might overshadow the nuanced personalities of the other greasers that are depicted in the book.
Yeah. And another interesting difference is the setting. The book clearly defines the greasers and the Sox territories as east and west sides, while the film uses north and south. What could be the reasoning behind this change? Does it hold any significance?
It's a subtle change, right? The shift from east-west to north-south, but it potentially alters the socioeconomic implications that are embedded in the story, right? The east-west divide in the book, I think, more distinctly reflects those economic disparities between the greasers and Sox, aligning with kind of traditional notions of poorer areas being on the, quote-unquote, wrong side of the tracks. The north-south division in the film might dilute that sharp contrast.
And let's not forget about the ending. The book concludes with a courtroom scene, offering a sense of resolution and legal repercussions, which the film omits entirely. Why do you think Coppola chose to end the film differently?
Yeah, that's a really key difference. By omitting the courtroom scene, the film leaves a degree of ambiguity. It allows the audience to ponder, I think, the long-term ramifications of the character's actions and the cyclical nature of violence and poverty. It creates a more haunting and open-ended conclusion.
Absolutely. Now, beyond these specific changes, there's a larger question of how Francis Ford Coppola, the director, shaped the film's overall tone and style. He collaborated really closely with S.E. Hinton, but he also brought his own vision to the film. How did his filmmaking style influence the adaptation?
Well, I think Coppola's expertise is evident in the film's visual richness, right? He employs these techniques like dissolves and parallel editing to portray the stark contrast between the greasers and Sox. Their worlds, their perspectives, and their realities are visually juxtaposed, creating, I think, a really powerful visual commentary on their social divide.
You mentioned visual richness. Can you elaborate on how Coppola uses visual cues to deepen the character development, particularly for Ponyboy, Johnny, and Dally?
Yeah. Coppola masterfully uses close-ups, I think, allowing the actor's expressions to really speak volumes. We see Ponyboy's wide-eyed innocence, Johnny's fear and vulnerability, and Dally's hardened exterior kind of cracking under pressure. These visual cues, I think, enhance their emotional impact, allowing the audience to connect with their struggles on a much deeper level.
Right. And Coppola also seems to capture both the gritty realism of the story, but then also a certain poetic beauty. How does he achieve that balance?
Well, I think he achieves this balance through his, innovative use of lighting, camera work, and editing.
Yeah.
Harsh lighting and handheld shots, bring out the rawness of their environment, while these slow motion sequences and carefully composed shots highlight moments of beauty and hope, mirroring the duality of their lives.
And speaking of impactful moments, the scenes depicting Johnny's death and Dally's subsequent breakdown are incredibly powerful. Can you pinpoint the specific techniques Coppola uses to create that emotional resonance?
Yeah. In these scenes, Coppola uses those close-ups again to highlight the raw emotions on the actors' faces. The soundtrack becomes more poignant, and the use of silence actually amplifies the weight of their grief and despair. He allows the scenes to breathe, I think, giving the audience time to absorb the emotional impact.
Moving on to a specific character, Ralph Macchio's portrayal of Johnny Cade is both heartbreaking and so memorable. Johnny, a troubled greaser, makes a life-altering decision when he fatally stabs a sock in self-defense. What makes his character so compelling, and how does Macchio bring him to life?
Johnny embodies the vulnerability and the desperation of youth caught in a cycle of violence, I think. His actions, though tragic, stem from a desire to protect himself and Ponyboy. And Macchio really captures Johnny's inner turmoil and yearning for something better. I mean, his delivery of the iconic line, "Stay gold, Ponyboy," perfectly encapsulates Johnny's longing for innocence and purity.
I mean, that line is truly powerful and has resonated with audiences for decades. Macchio has mentioned how Coppola pushed him to act more organically, even giving him a rock to focus on during a scene to encourage instinct over overthinking. How does this anecdote shed light on Coppola's directorial style?
Well, this anecdote reveals Coppola's, I think, deep understanding of actors and their processes. He recognized Macchio's tendency to overanalyze, right? And provided him with a tool to free himself from those constraints, allowing his natural talent to shine through.
Now let's discuss the Outsiders cast, which is full of young actors who would go on to become major stars. Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, the list goes on. How did this film contribute to the rise of the Brat Pack phenomenon of the 1980s?
The Outsiders, it captured the spirit of youth rebellion and the complexities of, adolescent friendships, these themes that resonated deeply with audiences. I think the film's success, coupled with the, subsequent fame of its cast members, contributed to a growing interest in stories centered around, youth experiences, paving the way for all those Brat Pack films that followed.
It's interesting that you mentioned The Outsiders paving the way for other films. While it boasts this, incredible cast, other films like American Graffiti and Fast Times at Ridgemont High also featured talented young ensembles and explored similar themes. How would you place The Outsiders within this larger trend of youth-centered narratives in cinema?
I think The Outsiders is definitely part of this larger trend in filmmaking, right? That sought to portray the complexities of youth with, authenticity and sensitivity. It reflects a growing recognition, I think, of the importance of teenage perspectives and experiences, in storytelling. However, I think The Outsiders stands out for its, raw portrayal of social issues and its exploration of deeper themes like loyalty, belonging, and the loss of innocence.
Speaking of the cast's experiences, we came across some intriguing insights from Rob Lowe's podcast interview with Coppola. He reminisced about Coppola's unique filming techniques that were used to highlight the socioeconomic divide between the greasers and socks. What struck you as particularly interesting about these anecdotes?
I think Coppola's decision to provide the greaser actors with a lower per diem and less luxurious accommodations than the sock actors is a fascinating example of his commitment to immersive filmmaking. He aimed to create an authentic experience for his cast, allowing them to, embody their characters' realities on a more visceral level.
Right. And Lowe also shared an anecdote about being sent to live with, real former greasers, recalling a sense of danger he and Tom Cruise felt during that experience. It seems Coppola was intent on blurring the lines between fiction and reality to evoke these authentic performances. What are your thoughts on this approach?
Well, I think Coppola's dedication to capturing the rawness of the story is evident in this approach. He wanted his actors to step outside their comfort zones and truly understand the lives of the characters they were portraying. I think this immersive technique speaks to his commitment to realism and authenticity.
These insights into the film's production really highlight the lengths Coppola went to achieve a level of authenticity and emotional depth that would resonate with audiences. It's this attention to detail, both in storytelling and filmmaking, that makes The Outsiders such a powerful and enduring film.
Absolutely. Coppola's vision, coupled with the remarkable performances of the cast, transformed this coming-of-age story into a cinematic masterpiece that continues to captivate and move audiences decades later.
Before we wrap up part one of our deep dive, I want to pose a question for our listeners to consider. How do you think the choice of adapting a story from book to film influences its reception and emotional resonance with the audience?
That's an excellent question. Each medium has its strengths and limitations, and the choices made during adaptations significantly impact how the story is perceived. We'll explore this further in part two.
We'll be back soon with part two of our exploration of The Outsiders. In the meantime, if you're enjoying this deep dive, be sure to subscribe to VSOW and leave us a comment. We appreciate your feedback.
We look forward to continuing this discussion with you soon.
Welcome back to VSOW. We're continuing our deep dive into The Outsiders, examining the nuances of its adaptation from book to film and the profound impact it had on cinema and popular culture.
Yeah. It's remarkable how this story, originally written from a teenager's perspective, continues to resonate with audiences of all ages.
Absolutely.
Mm.
S.E. Hinton's novel offered this really raw and authentic glimpse into the lives of teenagers grappling with societal pressures, economic disparities, and the complexities of loyalty and belonging. And Coppola's film brought those themes to life visually, amplifying, I think, their emotional impact.
Yeah. The film's success is really a testament to its ability to capture the essence of youth culture in a way that feels both timeless and relevant.
Let's shift our focus to a specific aspect of the film, the portrayal of youth culture and the emergence of the, brat pack. The Outsiders is often considered, a precursor to this phenomenon, which dominated the 1980s with films like, The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. How did this film, with its ensemble cast of rising stars, contribute to that cultural shift?
The Outsiders really resonated with audiences because it portrayed teenagers with a level of depth and realism that was rarely seen before. It tackled these complex issues like class conflict, violence, and loss, offering a glimpse into the lives of young people navigating, difficult circumstances. The film's success, coupled with the, subsequent fame of its cast members, sparked a growing interest in stories that were centered on, youth experiences, paving the way for the Brat Pack films, which often explored similar themes of, adolescence, rebellion, and the search for identity.
And you mentioned that The Outsiders dealt with themes of class conflict. The rivalry between the Greasers and the Sox is central to the story. How did the film depict this class divide, both visually and narratively?
Tupola masterfully used contrasting visuals to highlight those socioeconomic disparities between the two groups. The Greasers, with their worn-out clothing and gritty surroundings, inhabited a world that was visually distinct from the Sox, who were often seen in, preppy attire in affluent settings. This visual divide was further emphasized, I think, through, dialogue showcasing the distinct slang values and perspectives of each group. The clashes between them, both physical and verbal, underscored the deep-seated tensions and misunderstandings stemming from their different, social standings.
And the film's portrayal of youth culture wasn't limited to showcasing, just rebellion and angst. It also delved into the emotional complexities of these characters. We see their vulnerability, their loyalty to one another, and their longing for acceptance and belonging. How did the performances of the cast contribute to conveying these nuances?
Well, the ensemble cast delivered performances that were really marked by authenticity and vulnerability. They weren't merely playing, stereotypes. They embodied real teenagers with fears, dreams, and flaws. And I think the chemistry between the actors, particularly the core group of greasers, was palpable. They conveyed this sense of genuine camaraderie and shared experience that really resonated deeply with the audience.
Right. The success of The Outsiders and the subsequent rise of its cast members really solidified the viability of youth-oriented films in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It demonstrated that stories centered on teenagers, when told with authenticity and depth, could achieve both critical acclaim and commercial success.
Absolutely. The Outsiders became a cultural touchstone, proving that stories about teenagers could be both entertaining and thought-provoking. It shifted the landscape of storytelling, making space for more diverse and authentic representations of youth, in cinema.
Now let's focus on the lasting legacy of the Outsiders cast.
Yeah.
This film launched many of them into stardom. Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio, the list goes on.
Yeah.
How would you describe the film's impact on their, individual trajectories?
I think The Outsiders served as this kind of springboard for these talented young actors, providing them with, valuable experience and exposure. And it's really fascinating to see how their careers evolved, each, carving out their own unique path in the entertainment industry. The film undeniably played a crucial role in shaping their trajectories and solidifying their presence in Hollywood.
Yeah. Their collective success speaks volumes about the talent that Coppola assembles for this film. He had this knack for kind of spotting potential and creating an environment where, young actors could flourish.
It's worth noting that the impact of The Outsiders, I think, extends beyond, just fame and recognition. The experience of working on a film with, such intense themes and demanding roles likely shaped their kind of approach to acting and their understanding of, storytelling's power.
You make a great point. The film was more than just, a job. It was this formative experience that, influenced their craft and their perspectives on the industry.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a film they often recall with, fondness, acknowledging its significant role in their personal and professional journeys.
Yeah. The enduring legacy of The Outsiders is a testament to its timeless themes and the universality of its story. It's a film that continues to resonate with, new generations, captivating audiences with its exploration of, friendship, loyalty, and the search for belonging in a world that often feels divided.
You've hit the nail on the head. The Outsider's enduring popularity, speaks to its ability to connect with audiences on a deeply emotional level, prompting reflection and perhaps even inspiring a sense of hope for a more inclusive and, a compassionate world.
And I think the film's themes resonate even more powerfully today in a world that's grappling with, increasing societal divisions and economic disparities. The Outsiders encourages empathy and understanding, reminding us of the importance of seeing beyond superficial differences.
Yeah. You raise a crucial point. The Outsiders is this timeless reminder that despite our differences, we share, common human experiences, desires, and struggles. The film's enduring appeal lies in its ability to kind of connect with audiences on that, fundamental level, prompting introspection and perhaps even, inspiring a desire for a more just and equitable world.
We've delved into the cultural impact of The Outsiders, its influence on the portrayal of youth in film, and the lasting legacy of its cast. Now let's kind of shift gears and take a more analytical approach. How did the adaptation choices made for the film affect the overall narrative and character development?
Well, adapting a novel into a film inherently involves making, choices. Certain elements of the story might be streamlined or omitted, while others are emphasized or expanded upon. In the case of The Outsiders, some argue that the film's focus on Dally's character, while compelling, altered the dynamics of the Greasers. The book offered a more balanced portrayal, I think, giving each member of the group their own distinct voice and agency.
That's an interesting observation. It's true that the film seems to, spotlight Dally, perhaps due to Matt Dillon's, captivating performance, while the book provides a more nuanced view of the group as a whole.
Exactly. The film's choice to emphasize Dally's character, creates a different kind of energy and arguably shifts the focus away from the individual stories of, the other greasers.
Right. And another significant change is the omission of the courtroom scene from the book's ending. In the book, that scene provides this sense of closure and accountability. The film's ending, while impactful, leaves this, lingering ambiguity.
You're right. That omission is crucial. The book's courtroom scene offers a sense of resolution and legal, ramifications, while the film's ending allows the audience to grapple with the kind of unresolved consequences of the character's actions.
And some critics argue that the film, while visually captivating and emotionally engaging, lacks some of the book's um, depth and nuance. The novel, they argue, delves more deeply into the character's inner thoughts and motivations.
That's a common observation, right, when comparing a book to its film adaptation. A film, due to, time constraints, often condenses or streamlines certain aspects of the story. However, film has its own unique strengths, particularly in its ability to convey emotion through visual, sound, and performance.
Absolutely. And Coppola's film excels in capturing the raw energy and emotional intensity of the story. His use of close-ups, soundtrack, and slow-motion sequences enhances the impact of, key moments, drawing the audience into the character's experiences.
Precisely. He masterfully uses these, cinematic techniques to amplify the emotional resonance of the story. His vision, coupled with the, remarkable performances of the cast, creates a cinematic experience that complements and expands upon Hinton's original work.
As we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to consider. How do you think the adaptation choices made for the film influenced our understanding of the characters and their journeys?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Uh-huh.
I think each adaptation choice, whether it's a change in character focus, the omission of a scene, or the emphasis on, certain visual elements, shapes our perception of the story and its characters. We'll delve deeper into this and other fascinating aspects of The Outsiders in part 3 of our deep dive.
We'll be back soon with the final part of our exploration of The Outsiders. Don't forget to subscribe to VSOW and share your thoughts on this episode. We appreciate your insights and engagement.
We look forward to continuing this deep dive with you.
Welcome back to VSOW. We're concluding our deep dive into The Outsiders,
Yeah.
examining the film's nuanced details and its, enduring legacy.
It's amazing how a story about, teenage angst and social divides from the 1960s still resonates so deeply today.
Yeah, I think the film's exploration of, these universal themes like belonging, identity, and just the complexities of growing up transcends time and place, connecting with audiences across generations.
It really does. The Outsiders, reminds us that certain human experiences are timeless, regardless of the era.
In this final part of our deep dive, let's zoom in on some specific details that I think enrich our understanding of the film. We've discussed the Brat Pack,
Hmm.
but one cast member who I think stands out is Ralph Macchio as Johnny Cade. His performance is so central to the firm's emotional core, yet he's not always included in those Brat Pack conversations. What are your thoughts on Johnny's character and Macchio's portrayal?
Yeah. Johnny Cade, he embodies vulnerability and innocence lost amidst this, harsh and unforgiving world. He's a tragic figure, deeply affected by his abusive home life and caught in this cycle of violence beyond his control. And Macchio, I think, brilliantly captures Johnny's fear, his loyalty to his friends, and his yearning for something better. I mean, his delivery of Stay Gold Ponyboy is both heartbreaking and hopeful, and I think it really encapsulates Johnny's essence.
I think that line has become synonymous with the film and its message. It speaks to the fleeting nature of innocence and the importance of hope, even, in darkness. Macchio shared that Coppola challenged him to act more organically, even giving him a rock to focus on during a scene to encourage instinct over, overthinking.
Yeah.
How does this anecdote illuminate Coppola's directorial style?
Well, I think it reveals Coppola's, deep understanding of actors and their creative processes. He recognized Macchio's tendency to overanalyze and, provided him with a tool to free him, allowing, I think, his natural talent to surface. It speaks to Coppola's ability to create an environment that fosters creativity and authenticity.
Right, and I think these behind-the-scenes stories offer these, valuable insights into the collaborative nature of filmmaking. Speaking of which, Rob Lowe shared some fascinating anecdotes about Coppola's directing style in his podcast interview. Coppola differentiated the greasers and socks not only through, costumes and settings, but also through their per diem and accommodations. What are your thoughts on these methods?
Yeah, I think Coppola's dedication to immersive filmmaking is evident in these choices. He wanted the actors to embody their characters' realities, both on and off the screen. And I think by creating those, socioeconomic distinctions, he fostered a sense of realism and perhaps even amplified the underlying tensions between the groups.
It's unconventional, but effective in blurring the lines between fiction and reality. And Lowe also mentioned that Coppola sent some cast members to, spend the night with former greasers, leading to a somewhat unnerving experience for him and Tom Cruise. It seems Coppola really pushed his actors beyond their comfort zones.
Yeah. Coppola's willingness to experiment, I think, and create these immersive experiences for his cast likely contributed to the raw authenticity of the performances. He understood that by tapping into, real emotions and experiences, he could elevate the film beyond, mere entertainment.
The Outsiders is this, powerful and enduring film. It stays with you, prompting reflection on class, loyalty, and belonging. As we wrap up our deep dive, what final thoughts would you like to, leave our listeners with?
I think The Outsiders reminds us that beneath those, societal divisions and external appearances, we share this common humanity. And I think it encourages us to see beyond labels and recognize the, shared hopes, fears, and dreams that connect us. And it resonates, I think, because it speaks to the, universal desire for acceptance and belonging.
Beautifully said. On that note, we conclude our deep dive into The Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed, exploring the complexities of this film, its impact, and, the power of its story. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to VSOW and leave us a comment. We appreciate your feedback.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
And thank you for listening to VSOW.